We have a newsletter called Beyond 300, and we'd love to have you sign up. This is where we share what's coming on the podcast, provide helpful links, and keep you updated on the podcast and the hosts. You can sign up at charlottereaderspodcast.com or the websites of the hosts, leandiswade.com, saraharcherwrites.com, or spellboundpublicrelations.com. And by the way, we won't spam you because that takes way too much time.
All right, well, good. We're at Act 3 now, and we got a little marketing talk. True confessions here that none of the three of us know much about. But having said that, we have studied it up a little bit, and we've got an author who we're going to feature in just a little bit, who's going to give us some helpful information on it. And the topic is BookTok, and is it worth a try for authors? And I guess my question first to both of y'all is, when did y'all first find out about BookTok?
Probably I feel like in the last year or so, definitely throughout the COVID era, TikTok in general has just boomed out of somewhere. And so I think in general, that's the videos on TikTok there's been so many viral ones. And then with BookTok, probably within the last year is when I really started kind of taking a look into it, because so many of the authors that I, either just knew or worked with, it's they were sort of focusing on that because it was just turning out to be a really great way to connect. But I feel like it did kind of just come out of nowhere, though.
Yeah. Well, we have an author, Suzanne Goodwyn, who we're going to feature her book, Wrightsville Beach, a novel. But first, she's going to help us out with this topic of BookTok, and we're going to share some information that we found out about BookTok. Suzanne says she wants to point out that she does post videos on BookTok, which is where authors promote their books. And she says, you may not have explored this medium yet. And I said to myself, you're absolutely right.
I have not.
But she also said it's the number one way to reach readers under 30 and is upending the industry.
Yeah. Bookstores
actually have BookTok tables, and they carry books of authors who are on this app. So anyway, I thought it'd be helpful if we played her little 45-minute piece on BookTok, and then we can talk a little bit more about this before we talk about her novel.
Let's talk about BookTok. BookTok is a fairly new phenomenon and one of the newest ways of reaching readers. It's an online community that was formed on TikTok in 2020 after a user put up a video that inspired others to post about books that they liked. Since then, it has grown into a way that readers share their recommendations and where authors can connect with their readers. It first gained notice when a young adult book by Adam Silvera called They Both Die at the End started to have a sudden uptick in sales in the summer of 2020. The book had originally been released in 2017, and its sales had since waned, but now was selling enough copies to put it back on the New York Times bestseller list. Silvera discovered the renewed interest was due to readers posting about his book on BookTok. Videos of young girls crying because his book had moved them so much had gone viral, spreading their love of the book to new readers. And his book was not the only one. Colleen Hoover is another BookTok favorite that readers like to post about, showing how much her books mean to them. Learning how to do a TikTok video is not difficult, but here's the thing about BookTok. It's important that a video be authentic, as viewers want to connect with the person posting the video. It's a chance for the author to convey the emotions in the book and give a glimpse of how a particular book will make a reader feel. Becoming familiar with the TikTok app is fairly easy if you take some time to learn how to navigate it. I first watched YouTube videos to help me understand the editing techniques to make my videos more interesting. Then I started following other authors on BookTok to see what they were doing. What I found was each one has their own style. One author I follow makes comical remarks about the writing process, such as how her characters won't leave her alone, which I can relate to. Another author will post videos of herself doing everyday activities like unbagging groceries while telling you about some guy she just met last weekend, which is actually the storyline in her latest book. Most videos are 15 to 30 seconds long, and it helps to be funny or have something that quickly captures a viewer's attention. Since I wrote about a real place, Wrightsville Beach, I use photos and videos of Wilmington to visually show some of the locations that my characters visit. Though I also find using videos of my German Shepherd while talking about the book can generate a lot of views as well. For by using him, I'm also reaching people who are searching for German Shepherd or dog videos and who come across my video that see about the book. Like any other social media, it's hard to predict how many views you will get. But if you put up something that touches viewers, it will be shared and seen. If you want to see some of my videos, you can search at Goodwyn Books, which is spelled Goodwyn Books, all one word, or do a search for hashtag Wrightsville Beach Novel on TikTok, and I should pop right up. Right now, it's one of the best ways to reach readers under 30, but the over 30 crowd is quickly developing on TikTok as well, as I'm finding more and more friends are starting to use the app.
All right, that's just enough to make us dangerous now. Thank you, Suzanne, for that. I feel like this is a little bit like, it started to take off. People got on the ground floor a couple of years ago, and almost like the train it's almost too late to get on the train for somebody who thinks, okay, well, I'm going to get on and I'm going to make my book a bestseller. I'm going to sell lots of copies. And yet, at the same time, like any other social media platform, if it's something you like to do, if you like to work with video, or you like to work with images, or you like to work with short pieces, and you're good at doing those kinds of things, it might be a fun way to go. There was actually a New York Times article in July that I saw this morning. It was talking about BookTok and TikTok, and they actually mentioned the author that Suzanne mentions, Colleen Hoover, and how she's now, because of TikTok, one of the best-selling authors in the country. And of the 10 best-selling books so far this year, she has 4 of them. So I guess when people hear that, they go, oh, well, I'm going to run out and get on TikTok so I can be a best-selling author. But of course, when I looked her up, and she's got also a backlist of about 20 novels. She's been a best-selling, award-winning author before this. So it wasn't like TikTok just did it for her. It was one of the things that helped push her over, even though she had a platform and a big backlist that was already developed. But it's interesting to me that, we'll talk a little bit about the process in a minute, but just in terms of how recent this is, and Hannah, you being a publicist, fads come and go. I mean, there was Google Plus at one time, and now it's gone. And, will this be with us, or will it be a fad, and do you invest your energy in it? This is one of the things I think with our attention spans getting shorter and shorter. I don't know what your take on this is, but 15 seconds to grab someone's attention, if you're good at it, maybe it's got some staying power.
I mean, I don't know if you guys remember Vine. Do you remember Vine? So Vine was sort of similar to TikTok, and I was a Vine fanatic. I mean, I've always really been into video too. Like I mentioned, I was a film studies major first when I went to college. I'm like, oh, this is because I think like YouTube, if you have like a short, I don't know, I love short videos where you just have an opportunity to get something across. I like weird humor, stuff like that. And I think what platforms like either Vine or now TikTok do is kind of gives you a way to be yourself and connect with people through that. So, I mean, it's like with any kind of social media, I think, which I always tell my authors, or if I'm talking with folks about something like this at a literary event, it's like, you don't really want to use social media to kind of just sell something, because that's just not how it works. It's more just about like being authentic and kind of showing the behind the scenes. And I think with video, and again, it's just like the perfect thing to talk about just in relation to the show, don't tell, that kind of thing. But that's what you do, is you show who you are with these videos, and they're supposed to be fun. It's kind of like Suzanne was just saying, it's like you don't need to, they shouldn't be all polished up. Basically, you don't have to go on there and have these kind of graphics sliding in or anything like that. It should really just be like funny or quick things that you can do. And you're right, Landis, I mean, your point about the attention span being shorter and shorter, I think that's always why these video apps have performed really well over time. Like even if you're just looking at something like YouTube is the second largest search engine in the world. And it's still around years and years and years and years later. And so these apps like, I think Vine, I don't know, it kind of filtered out, but now it's like we have hashtags. So TikTok is like modern social media technology, basically, I think. And I think it will be around for a while, just because it's also already kind of evolving. Like at first it started out with being just more of like a dance video platform. So it was like you'd learn these TikTok dances and you'd see like the kids these days doing the dances, and you're like, how do you do this? You're like 12. But now it's, it's a marketing tool. So you see a lot of the brands, a lot of big brands, authors or actors, everybody's like, you got kind of have to be there, because if you're not, you're missing out on a huge market. And yeah, I mean, video is a huge tool, and it's a way, I think it's a good way to kind of just be funny. It sounds like the author she mentioned too, that where she's like, my characters won't leave me alone, like da da da, stuff like that, I think is great, because it's supposed to be fun. So the more fun you can make it for yourself, the better.
All right, what are the chances you can talk all the authors you represent and
low
get on BookTok?
Low chance. Very low chance. I can think of one that would do it. You might do it.
Yeah.
I feel like I can convince you to do it, maybe. Well, if I did it for you.
Yeah, exactly. But one of the things that article said, and Sarah, maybe you can comment on this, but the New York Times article talked about it's not so much authors talking about the plot or the characters in a traditional kind of review format. It's more about how the book makes people feel. Yeah. And that's why when you see these videos of women holding the book crying, they say, oh my gosh, or the women holding the book
it across the room.
and throwing it across the room. That's probably not the review you want.
Exactly.
Yeah. But I've heard, so I went on line and there was this video, maybe we'll put it in the show notes to give credit to the person who educated me a little bit today, but it's had a BookTok, and it talks about different ways to do it. And she actually walks through how you use the app, and she does a couple. And what she was doing was something called a book haul, where she had 5 or 6 books, and she had them in her arms, and then she held one up, and then she flipped the pages, and then she pauses, and then she takes another book and flips those pages and turns it like it, and the book changes, and she pieces all these together. It looked like it was taking about 20 minutes to create a 1 minute deal, and yet it was catchy. It was interesting. And the other one I liked she talked about was that people will get on there and they'll say, and they'll pretend to be the character in the book, and they start telling their life story, and they tell about 30 seconds and get to a cliffhanger, and then they go, yeah, and that's what this book's about, And so they kind of do it, they personalize it and that kind of thing. And authors have been doing some creative things too. But Sarah, speak to the emotion piece of this and why you think that it would be something that would attract people.
Yeah, well, I think, just by its nature, it's such a short medium. If you have, 15 seconds to 1 minute to do your review, you can't do, a detailed, nuanced review in that time and actually go through like, here's what I really liked, or here's what I think didn't work well, or that sort of thing. Which I will say my initial reaction to TikTok and to BookTok has been pretty negative as someone who's not on it. So I can't speak from personal experience, but I'm always like, our attention spans are contracting. It's the downfall of civilization. We don't need more social media, this kind of thing. And there is, I think, a downside to that for authors, and that people can't give your book, a really fair, balanced, nuanced, in-depth review on a platform like TikTok. But at the same time, we still have plenty of places like Amazon and Goodreads and other for that sort of those sorts of reviews and reactions. And, I think TikTok is good about letting people get creative and showing how they react emotionally to a book in a certain way, or if you're coming at it from, you're the author and you're trying to talk about your own writing, things about like the example of the woman who was unpacking her groceries and talking about the story and, making it sound like it's her real life. And then you kind of realize that it's actually something that's happening in her writing. I think that it's a fun way for people to show their personalities and to just talk about their work in different and unexpected ways that we're not really seeing as much on other platforms. So go ahead. Oh no, I was just saying I'm not totally ready to jump on it yet, but I'm getting closer. I like the idea that you can get creative.
One of the things that I find interesting about it is that based on what people were saying in this article, New York Times article, and other, is that this is word of mouth promotion, and there have been authors who've talked about the fact that they were on the New York Times list or the Wall Street Journal, or they were USA, whatever, and none of that sold books. What sold books were people reading their books and telling their friends about the books. And so just an author getting on BookTok with that being somewhat creative, is not going to do anything. Somebody's got to pick that up and read the book and then do their own book talk and kind of pass the word around. And so reviews in and of themselves, they're nice. Ratings are nice. It's nice to have a number of them, even the ones that aren't any good. But ultimately, it's about those people that are actually telling someone else that they liked your book, right? They're the biggest sale. And I think that's what BookTok is kind of trying to tap into, the fact that people really emotionally connect enough that they're crying or they're laughing or they're throwing the book across the room or they're taking it on a backpacking trip with them or they're creating these book hauls and showing them to the world and that kind of thing. So I think it's got some potential, but, it falls back into that realm. Authors, I think, are trying to write a synopsis of your book for a novelist. I mean, we're not good at that, So trying to then boil down the whole book into 15 seconds, I mean, talk about a challenge. But I think it would be good training, right? I think if you could figure out how to do book talks, 15 seconds to 30 seconds, and do it in 8 or 10 creatively different ways, where you're a character or you're in the setting or you're doing whatever, pretending to be somebody in the book, you're going to learn how to do shorter pitches of your book. And Hannah's dogs are coming to the podcast. Right?
Yeah. My dog's about to
I know. I'm like, guys, come on.
Yeah, exactly.
Bark talk.
Yeah.
But so, and I think just
Did you hear that bark talk? I like that.
bark talk. That's right. So anyway, a little wrap up here. BookTok was formed in 2020, according to Wikipedia. So not long ago. The creators who make these things that we watch are called book talkers. They focus on books and literature. And the interesting thing is that it's having an effect because big publishers are creating their own BookTok pages and assigning people in social media to spend more time on BookTok than they are on some of the other social media pages. And Barnes & Noble, has partnered with BookTok, and over the next, during the summer, they're having this thing where they call them the BookTok Challenge, where you pick a book from their list, and they've got various lists, and the lists are like these: enemies to lovers, fake dating, suspense, opposites attract, paranormal. You pick a book, you go make a book talk about it, and you get into the competition. I mean, and so they're being smart about this. And then, Books A Million actually shows what's trending on BookTok. And when bookstores are putting BookTok books recommended on their shelves, it tells you that, this online medium's having an effect. But, the question is, how many social media channels can you do and how many can you do effectively? And that comes down to be the issue, does it not, old marketing whisperer?
Yeah, I think so. And something else that I was just thinking about too for authors, I mean, that's definitely a common complaint / just comment that I hear a lot, where it's like, there's so many, do I really need to do all of these different things? It's kind of, which is true, and you really don't. I've said this, I feel like I've probably even said this on here before, but you really don't need to do all of them. It's kind of the one that you find yourself having the most fun with. And I think part of it is that TikTok is fun. So you see a lot of authors on there that are able to kind of just like, it's less pressure almost. I don't know why that is. I guess it's because it's these quick snippets where you can sort of just showcase your personality and stuff like that. And it's like an easy thing to do versus if you're strategizing to post X posts on Instagram or these graphics that you have to create and stuff like that. I think what scares authors a lot from using TikTok is that it's hard to hire someone to do that for you because it has to be,
because you got to be in the picture.
You got to do it. Like it has, you can't really say like, oh, Penguin, let me get some of your marketing people down here and can you just like put some stuff up on TikTok? It's like, I can do that. Yeah. But, it's not really going to be nearly as effective as if you're in it. And so because that's the point. It's just not supposed to be. And I would say that's even the same, lately for Instagram. It's like you kind of, anything visual, it's a lot better if you can be a little bit more, at least, 75% of your content being kind of personal, just like these are personal photos that we've taken the time to do this and stuff like that. But yeah, it's with BookTok, you really can't hire out for that kind of thing. It's tough. So I think a lot of authors are like, well, that's not fun. I don't want to do that.
It's like, Hannah, can't I pay you to do that, Hannah?
And I can do, I mean, like, and I say, I'm like, if you give me some videos of you doing XYZ, but it's super
Right.
easy to do and it's quick. Like, I mean, you literally could do a TikTok video and like, I mean, like we were saying, it's 15 seconds to a minute. So it's not very long. And just like,
Yeah, but if you edit it and then you piece it together to be something that, because if you look at these things, there's a lot of transitions, a lot of movement. It's like the eye flicking when you watch television. The flicker that come. I mean, there's scene
Right.
changes, right? So in that 15 to 30 seconds or more, you might switch the scene or what's happening 4, 5, or 6 times, and that takes a little bit of editing. Not that you can't manage it, because the app apparently is pretty easy to use, just like you're using
Right.
your iPhone. If you take a video and you can actually edit out parts of that, and then put it up. So maybe it'd be fun to work with. Maybe we should challenge ourselves that, I don't know, what would be a reasonable deadline?
tomorrow.
3 years from now, get one up?
There'll be a new app by then.
For real. Three years from now. Like, who knows?
Who knows what we'll be doing in 3 years?
Maybe we should ask our listeners, should we have a Charlotte Readers Podcast TikTok account?
That'd be kind of fun,
where we,
actually, I think. For me.
where we put up different books and that kind of thing. But to your point, Hannah, I have followed your advice on the new Instagram
It's
page
fun,
you had me
right?
set
I feel
up,
like
the
you're
Landish
having
Rights
fun
page.
with it.
Yeah, and I've posted, 11, 12 times, and I've only posted about the book once, so that's kind of, part of that piece, and we'll do
that's
that.
great.
But,
I think you're doing a good job.
so, Sarah, you'll be putting up some BookTok soon, is that right?
Gosh, maybe. Don't hold me to it.
Sarah's like, no. I'm going to hire William to do that for me.
Yeah, he would be great at it. He's very photogenic or telegenic,
That's
whatever
true.
it is.
Yeah.
Well, we'll have the dogs. Maybe we can get the dogs to do that. We'll find, something for them
I
to
think
work on.
Gracie.
No, but Suzanne has given us some good ideas, and thank you, Suzanne, for that. And speaking of her, let's we got this little piece, and then we'll jump right into the feature of Suzanne Goodwyn.
For all things Charlotte Readers Podcast, check out charlottereaderspodcast.com. You can find a list of all episodes, an alphabetical guest list with links, detailed show notes for each episode, a community blog, and more. We'd love to have you visit.